What's up, everybody, and welcome to a new stand-up talk. This is still Marnick, Vandebroek, and for the people that are watching on YouTube, you might be wondering, where's my headset, where's my microphone that I use normally, but my whole house is now a construction site, and everything is stored at my parents' house, so for now, I'm doing it with the earplugs. But it doesn't really matter, because everybody who's podcasting and listening to episodes, and I've discussed it in the backstage with our guest here today, it's not about the technology, is about the people, the guests, their story. And again, I have a very special guest today. Maybe you don't know him, but in Belgium, he's very known because he's now the podcast guru, sales connector. And that's what I'm also going to talk about with him. But if you don't know him, you know him now, definitely after the podcast. And his name is Peter Snauwaert. Welcome to the show.
Welcome, Marnick. Very grateful to be your guest. Very honored.
Thank you for being here. And for us, we're in Belgium now. The evening is coming. You see the evening sun on my face coming in. How are you doing?
Oh, I hope that is the sun on your nose.
It is. What else would it be?
I'm doing great, especially when I'm speaking with you, Marnick, because you'll always be my first.
There you go. Now, for the people that don't know us, that's going to sound really, really weird.
Indeed.
But you mean the first on your podcast.
Yes, indeed. You're my number one. You're my first number one guest on my podcast, What's on Your Mind? And we recorded that in February 2020, I believe.
There you go.
And then your book started selling by the millions. Truckloads of books were shipped around the globe.
And now I'm a billionaire and I'm recording this from my yacht. But how many episodes now? Because we're also going to talk a bit about podcasting. But how many episodes did you make for your podcast since my first appearance?
Right now, yesterday, I recorded number 108.
There you go, 108. That's in just over a year, 108 podcasts.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And like you said before, it's that number one that's going to make the difference. It's actually publishing the number one. And that's also what I want to talk to you about when I'm going to start this episode. For the people who don't know you, we'll get to know you, but you're in sales. You're a coach, a mentor, a trainer, a podcaster. But most of all, you are super good in connecting with people.
Okay.
And really giving them a plan. You're surprised. Like, oh my God, am I? I hope you are, or this whole podcast is for nothing. But that's what I want to talk about, to teach people, like, how do you connect? How do you network? How can you sell from it, but sell in a different way? And of course, with social selling, with podcasting, with Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff that you're doing, what can people learn from you? So if you're ready,
I'm born ready, Marnick.
There you go. Let's dive in. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Marnick Vandebroek. My guest is Peter Snauwaert. Welcome to the Stand Up Talk.
Are you listening? Damn.
All right, welcome back. This is still Marnick. Welcome to the Stand Up Talk. And with Peter, we're going to dive right in. So the sun is setting. We're going to go in. And the first question that I want to ask you, and it's an assumption, might already be difficult to answer, but I think it's a really important one because it'll also get the audience to get to know you. I admire you, not just because you want to be my guest on this podcast, but I admire you because if you look at social media, when you post something, people are liking, but they always say there's a very small percentage of people that actually literally engage with what you're doing. But there are so many people seeing your posts, seeing what you're doing, looking, but you don't know they're there. And they might be cheering for you. They might be jealous. But there's this one thing very typical for you is you cheer for so many people. It's like you don't know jealousy, which is great.
Nope.
And you're always rooting for people. You're rooting for me, for other people in my network. Where is this coming from? And how do you, that's why I say maybe it's a strange question, but how do you create that mindset of always wanting to see people win? Because you might sound logical, but I don't think it's that logical.
Well, it's a mindset thing. It has a couple of layers. First of all, in my mind, there is no such a thing as competition. I think everybody has a unique story, a unique path, and a unique gift that they bring to the world. That's first. So when I saw you on social media, I admire you because I saw you speaking 8 or 9 years ago during a sales conference, and I was like, wow, the passion, the energy. I also have passion and energy, and I admire that for somebody who is doing it. And I even copied some of your moves. And so the thing is that by and that's the first one. There is no competition. So the only competitor for me there is myself 1 year, 1 day, 1 month, 10 years ago. Okay. So I want to become the best version of myself. Otherwise said, I want to come as close to whom I really am, without the masks that I think I have because of society or my youth or what people think that I should be. So there is no competition. Therefore, I see everybody as an with a positive mindset, um, as somebody I can learn from. There's also another rule, that if you surround yourself with positive people, then yourself will adopt a positive mindset. If you surround yourself with millionaires, 5 millionaires, you will become a millionaire. So if I, especially in the Corona times, if I surround myself with people like you who have a very positive mindset, where I can learn from and who I admire for certain capabilities, I will learn from them. I mean, I've read your book and I apply it. So, and I was also, so you inspire me. And therefore, I because there is no competition, because I want to be surrounded by this kind of people. And there's also another part is that I've learned that if you want to, how do you say that? I've learned to be lucky. Happiness is not about taking; it's about giving without asking back. And the thing is, it makes me happy to see you grow. I'm a sales director in a marketing agency. It's the same there. These 21-year young people or 25. I mean, if I see them grow, I mean, that makes me really happy. So, and that's those three components. So there is no competition. Surround yourself with people you admire, and it's about the giving without getting something back, and it's that really genuine how can I serve you mentality. And it's something that I learned it from Jay Abraham. It's a consultant in the US who charged $50,000 per day.
There you go. That's a fee.
Yeah, but the thing is, how can I serve you? He calls it the strategy of preeminence. It needs to be genuine and authentic and from the heart.
Yeah.
So, and it has been a journey, Marnick. I'm not born like that, and for me, yeah, it works also. And this is a more like deeper spiritual thing, is that like a lot of people, I have judgments about people that I see for the first time, and I'm think, yeah, he's from there, or he or she is acting like that, he or she. So I tend to put them in some kind of a cage.
Yeah.
And for me, cheering other people is about saying, look, these are my brains who are fooling me. I don't want to judge, but it's something that which is it's inherent in our system, in our survival mechanism of the brain. And so I want to step through that judgment and say, who is that person really? So I said to myself consciously, now I want to see really who that person is. So I want to connect with that person and to see who is she really. And that always I discover that there are great people, and it doesn't fit with my judgment.
There you go. That's true.
Does that resonate with you?
Yeah, definitely. Because a lot of people in our business, when we're talking about communication and storytelling, for people watching YouTube, I'm just trying to avoid the sun. It will be gone in a couple of minutes. Is that first impressions? It's normal to have a first impression, and can be positive, can be negative. I once had a lady that says, the first impression, I wasn't a big fan of you because you were wearing the same shirt as my ex-husband, who I no longer have a great relationship with, but now you appear to be a great guy. So I resonate with that, and I really think that's a good insight for people. It's not always going to be easy, but be like conscious about, I don't like this person for some reason, but it's a first impression, and force is maybe a heavy word, but force yourself to step through that first impression and see, and most of the time it's like, oh my God, I was completely wrong about this. And the other one I really like, that's why it's resonating, is that you say there is no competition. And when I see someone doing something great or even better than you, I want them to be, I want to be surrounded by it, because they will lift me up in some way. Well, I could be mistaken, but most people would be thinking like, oh, he or she's better than me.
Yeah.
or they're winning and I'm not winning. So I get away while you say, no, no, no.
Yeah, and in addition to that, that's because I choose to have a mindset of abundance instead of a mindset of scarcity. There are people who think winning is having the biggest building in the neighborhood by burning all the buildings down.
Yeah,
It's not about that. You have your own path, and you cannot compare to whomever. I mean, we're all unique, and we have their own path to walk on. And of course, I've also lived that life when I was 20 or even beginning of 30, where I had a big ego and I was a slave of my ego. That I was like, yeah, and I'm comparing myself, and he has a bigger car or bigger house or whatever. But if you change that, and if you really start living in abundance, if you look at nature, I mean, the grass or the sand or the sea, the water, the drops in the sea. I mean, the stars. How much proof do you need that we are living in abundance? Even the cells in your body. So by choosing that mindset of abundance, then everything comes in abundance. So for me, it's really about what you see is determined how you look at things. You see?
Yeah.
And so it's a combination of these multiple layers, which of course propels you that your baseline maybe was negative or neutral by looking at the news and seeing negative things, changes in a very positive, and you're seeing opportunities instead of just always problems. If you are learning to drive the car in the special courses where the crash driving, the first lesson that they teach you is they say, if you want to get out of the wall, you're going to crash a wall, you should look at the point that you want to go. Instead of if you're looking to the wall, you're going to crash with the car into the wall.
Focus is where your future is. That's why people bump into the only tree in the field and they're like, how can you drive against that tree? But everybody's focusing on it. That's good stuff. So you're saying, not to repeat everything that you're saying into this podcast, but you say like the strength is there's not necessarily competition. There's a world of abundance. You just see that abundance.
Yeah.
And of course, you're going to see things in a certain way because you have your own map in your head. But even though positive and negative, go through that first impression, take the effort, and you will see that there's more people that you can connect with and learn from than initially.
And there's also another thing, is that everybody has to start somewhere. You have started somewhere with no subscribers, no likes, no followers, no comments, nothing. When I see somebody starting, I think back to that person who I was when I started with nothing. So I think it's my gift to help them. And then people are like, yeah, but you're giving away everything. No, because that person is not me. I will always be me.
Yeah.
And so they can copy everything from me, but they will not be me. Because it's a combination of the thing of the head, the heart, and the brain, and the belly. And there's that combination who is going to create that first genuine connection with somebody else.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah. That's good. And it links back to what we said in the beginning of your podcast. That was the first one on your episode. And now you have more than 100 episodes later. You have in Belgium, we were just discussing the guests up front. You have so many no names internationally. Your number one podcast or the top podcast in somewhere in Africa. In the US, you have connections. So that's what you say. Everybody has to start somewhere. You started and you saw that abundance, and look where it brought you now.
And therefore, I don't focus on getting the likes. And that's then the bigger answer is it's all about intention. What is your intention, your why behind things? Why am I doing this podcast? What's behind that? And my bigger why is your story. For instance, you were leaving PepsiCo to start your own company, the stand-up company, and you also suffered a burnout, which you disclose in our conversation. And it's that story to really take your own future in your own hands and to do something with your life, to do something with your passion instead of living a life and being in a golden cage, as they call it. And that's the story that I want to bring with my podcast. And is that underlying intention, that drive for passion, that I want to inspire people by bringing stories so that people are taking action in whatever area in their life. Is it quitting their jobs and starting their own career? Is it coming out of a burnout? Is it getting some kind of coaching to go deeper in yourself? It doesn't matter. As long as you are taking that step to becoming closer to yourself and really living a life in joy, because that's really the goal of life. And of course, I bundle it with sales and marketing and entrepreneurship and things like that, because I'm also passionate about it. And I don't want to, how do you say that? I'm not a guy with long white hair and a rope or something. So it's, and that's the thing that I discovered. I'm more of an inspirator and a connector than a sales guy. I mean, I don't do it for the kick of the order, because I've been there. Once you've done those big things, what's next, Marnick? You've had a lot of audience, you have lots of fans, you have lots of customers. But what's next? What is your fuel? So you have to find something else which propels you further.
That's true. That's right. That's also your podcast is called "What's on Your Mind." So there's two questions I want to dive into later. What you're saying, like it's that not necessarily hard sales for me. Maybe what you're saying is sales, because everybody has that perception of what sales is, but maybe it's more what you say. So I want to dive in that. But first, your podcast is named "What's on Your Mind." You're talking about mindset, about focusing not on the wall, but focusing on something else, seeing the abundance, seeing the potential, and connecting with people. You talked about how I disclosed burnout, what we went through, but you weren't always in this mindset, right?
No, of course not.
Because you also said to me, and this disclose what you want to disclose, but you also said that you went through some hard mental stuff that got you eventually.
Yeah. So for me, the and that's a thing that I see coming back in every podcast conversation, is that 99% of the people, they had some kind of struggle anyway. A burnout. I had a divorce, which went okay. So it was not a fight divorce, but I was feeling guilty because I hurt somebody. And I, at the same time, I chose a partner, and afterwards it's really easy to talk about that. But when you're in there, it's not. That I was really living out of my head. So I took every decision was for me a KPI, was an objective, also a relationship. And I never considered about intuition or my heart or feelings. It was as a male. And in the end of my 20s, not something that I wasn't aware. I was never trained in that. And then around 32, I took the decision to quit and to say, look, you want children, let's end here. And right now she's very happy. She's married to somebody else. She has children. And I also remarried. But when I went to a divorce, I had everything. I had one of my best sales years ever, making lots of money. And I had actually materially seen everything, but I was ready to commit suicide.
Oh, that's heavy.
Yeah. So, and I was like, I even looked it up on Google. But the thing was, there was no 100% guarantee. I'm like, what a kind of loser are you if you're doing it and you're still there? And then it's like some kind of poison, drip by drip. It's entering your body, and I wake up and I was like, no, I'm going to call a therapist, and who also went through divorce. And I called her, and she said on the last session, you are not your thoughts. I was like, what the fuck is she saying? And it was years later that I discovered that thoughts are coming in your mind, but you don't have to act or believe your thoughts.
That's a good one.
Okay? And it's that internal, that inner voice, that inner dialogue, which has been giving us via the first 8 years of our lives. You are not good enough. You're stupid. You're smart. You're small. You cannot trust people, etc., etc., etc. All these beliefs about the world by school, your parents, and whatever. And this is not a blame towards my parents. They did their best. And then and then you realize that you can really, like you're wearing a suit or clothes in the morning. You can choose that mindset, and it's really. And it started with Brian Tracy and Tony Robbins, and what's the grandfather of NLP? What's his name? He was a little bit the personal growth of father of Tony Robbins, and I start listening to that, and it started all with, I mean, one relationship after another did not succeed. Also in work, I was also always chasing that carrot. Like, if I get that target, if I reach 250%, I'm going to feel happy. So, and it didn't. And even when I got there, I'm like, shit, I'm feeling the same as I was yesterday or even before. But because I was so used to chasing that target as a sales guy, and yes, I had success because people admire me for my drive and hunting skills and blah blah blah, which is all fine. But I wasn't happy. I wasn't. I was like, I've put my ladder to the wrong mountain. And so that whole process around my 830s, when I started to see, look, there's also another world. You can also look for another environment, look at your values, look at what give you energy, and surround you with people who've been there and who also talk about mindset. And then you discover that thing that you say, okay, I can really change the way I look at things, and then my world changes. So, and this is the biggest lesson, is that it's I always thought my outer world, I'm going to change my wife and my career and my job, and then I will feel happy. So my inner world will feel good. But it's the other way around. If you are happy right now, you will become successful. But it's not you are successful and then I will be happy. No, no. If you're happy with everything there is, everything you have, the people, and so etc., 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 and then you will become successful. And it's that complete change of, no, no, I shouldn't start chasing a carrot in front of me. No, 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 everything is fine. So enjoy that journey right now. So don't focus on that order. Don't focus on that big concert, but focus on enjoying at a rehearsal. Focus on enjoying with that person connecting with you.
Yeah.
And that's why I learned the hard way. I was always like chasing every prospect and every qualification, every first meeting, and it wasn't happening. And then I said, fuck it, I'm going to leave this job. I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to just help and serve people. And all the big orders came, and I didn't even ask them. They threw the orders at my head. I'm like, there is something here. There is also a way of not struggling or hustling and working hard. So there's another way of doing sales, and that's where I really started to go deeper and discover that philosophy.
Yeah, you really you attract everything around there, and it's like I'm attracting the sun for the people on YouTube. I'm struggling here, but it's true. There's so many golden nuggets in there, because you say you are not your thoughts, which I think is really powerful. There's so many thoughts going on, and every time we give in to them, we become even more stressed. But it's just thoughts. Doesn't mean that you have to act on them, or that they define you. And definitely people that are going through a harder period know that they struggle real hard with those thoughts, and it's just when you can let them go. So I really like that one. And also like the fact that you say we always try to control our environment, but the more we try to control it, well, it's not coming the way we are. Like you say, I'm going to be successful and then I'm happy. And the moment you decide for yourself, and I'm just saying what you're saying, right? But that's what I remember. It's when you have that inner strength and you're like, I'm putting because you said it beautifully. I'm putting my ladder against the right mountain instead of having it on the wrong mountain. And I'm going to start with myself. And the moment I am in balance, the moment I know who I am, what I want to do, and where I go for, is it sales? Is it your concerts? Like you said, because
Whatever.
it comes to you because people get attracted by that energy. And I really like those points you are making. But then I have a but, is how, if someone is listening right now, do I always need to go through the heavy period that you had to discover this? Because how do I know my ladder is against the wrong mountain?
It's no, you don't. And luckily, I see 23, 24 young people having already this wisdom, because I discovered this in my around 40. And there's one thing of knowing the lesson and applying it. There's a big difference. You can read a book. Stand Up, Stand Out. Great book, by the way.
I read Amazon.
But it's knowledge. If you apply it, it becomes wisdom. And that's a big thing. So if you are going to read a book, it's a mental thing. And it sits in your mind and in your brains. It's fine. It's stored there. But if you're going to apply it with your whole body and your heart and your belly, and you're feeling it all that energy and like, yes, I want to be like Marnick. I want to have that same passion and energy jumping around the stage 8 a.m. I want to have that same energy.
Mhm.
Where does he get that? And everybody has that in them. So no, you don't have to go through that. And the first thing that I would advise is that, how do you make decisions? Do you make decisions only in your head, or do you make decisions balanced, meaning a combination of the belly, so the intuition, the heart, and how does it make you feel? Is it giving you positive energy, or how does it make you feel? And it's a muscle that you can train. Yeah, it's a kind of an awareness muscle,
Mhm.
and it's the consciousness, something that you train, that you say, give me a minute. So I'm like, okay, I'm feeling my feet. Okay, I'm feeling my feet. Okay, this person, is he or she full of bullshit, or am I resonating with? Can I trust this person? And you know it when you are meeting somebody. Like I had an application, somebody applying for a job today, and for an account manager. So, and I have to see, can I trust this person? And in a couple of minutes, yes, maybe, or no.
Yeah, you can feel it. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's the same, that feeling, that intuition, and everybody's saying that in a podcast, from Frank Mano to Christophe de Spiegeleer to the most spiritual guy, everybody says, listen to your intuition, you make great decisions. If you don't follow your intuitions, of course, you have to use your head also. I mean, it's that combination. Sometimes you can have a click with a person, but from a rational point of view, that person maybe is not fitting your organization because, yeah, at that time you don't need that kind of role. Okay. So it doesn't fit the Excel sheet. So it's that combination of the two. So if you are making decisions just based on how does it make your intuition, and that's that muscle you can train, and it's something that if you do that every day, and it's that the small decisions, even, do I want to go to the restaurant? Do I want to meet these friends? Yes, no. Do I want to meet these people?
Mhm.
Instead of just going and on a kind of an autopilot through life, and you're repeating that same pattern, and you're not asking yourself, do I really want this? Does this give me positive energy? Why am I doing this? In every small or big decision in a job. And it's something that I learned from my wife. So every interview that I had, so when I was applying for a job like 8 years ago, I went with Gardner, and I was like, oh, Gardner, they want me. And I'm like, ooh. And my wife goes, how was it? Yeah, and it's a big title and it's important. But yeah, but how does it make you feel, bro? And then other jobs were like smaller companies, and they were like, I can have impact here. And she said, you're not talking about the car or the title, you're talking about you're enjoying yourself. Okay. And then I chose to do that.
Yeah.
Even if my environment, like a corporate environment, like, Peter, what the hell are you doing? Stay here, stay in the basket and do some fucking corporate job, and don't use the effort and stay. No, don't do it. Wear your suit and stay here. Stay here. And once I tried to break out and really start listening about it to my intuition, everything changed. And it starts with bands, with jobs, with podcasting, with guests, with everything. And if you train that, that's for me the first easy step. Of course, I mean, the thing, like, there is no competition. I mean, it, again, if it's a mental thing, that's one thing, but I can feel that through my whole, but you can feel that from me when I have a meeting with you or a call with you. You're not my competitor, Marnick, because I love you, what you do.
Yeah.
And it's even 1 + 1 is 3. So for me, and it's something that I learned from Stephen Covey from the 7 Habits of Effective People, is the total is more than the sum of the underlying parts. A relationship, it's not about Marnick or it's not about Peter, it's that energy, that transfer of energy between you and me, and it's creating something bigger by being in the same room or virtually in the same room with you or with another person. And it's also that, so that you feel it's, you have that when you are playing in a band which is on fire, you feel that you're lifting up by the music. And with the audience, you even have that when you're going to Tomorrowland with the DJ, and you're becoming one with the audience. That's that feeling.
Yeah, it's all energy. And then
Yeah,
Energy's right. You have that internal compass, like you said, that just guiding you and telling you who to connect with and what decisions to take. Yeah.
And that's it. That's internal compass, and everybody experiences that. Eh? But there is a if you consciously choose to go into that kind of situation over and over and over again, yeah, of course, these kind of situations will pile up, and the energy will also grow, and also you will attract again other people. You see, but yeah, and the biggest lesson there is letting go of beliefs, letting go of toxic people, letting go of people who are holding you back, letting go of people who are maybe jealous of you.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Energy vampires. Energy
Yeah.
vampires. There you go. They're cutting them out of your life. This is also one thing that you hear a lot. Like just like you say, cutting them out. Who gives me energy? Who doesn't? And really, it's not always easy.
No, it's not.
Because it's easier said than done to say goodbye to someone, a bad friend or whatever. But it gives you so much peace and quiet and newfound energy. And you also, like you said, you focus not on the wall, you focus on the right things. That's good.
And so the heaviness, I go to the heavy burden of it. It's the heavy rock bottom thing for a lot of people. Whatever the situation is causing pain, and pain is the biggest driver of change. Pain is even more than pleasure. That's why people change behavior, and that pain gives people some time to reflect. And it's like the universe saying, "Look, Marnick, you're not on the right path. We have something bigger, more joyful for you." And but change the channel, man. Change the direction. Change the path. Yeah. And when you follow that positive energy, and it's going to be, I mean, you will face obstacles, but you will learn from them. Because if you win all the time, your life is going to be boring. Because we love that hero's journey. We love that we learn from our failures and our pains and our mistakes. And but if you see them as lessons, if you say, I win or I learn, I mean, then life is a game. It's like a computer game. Go to the next level. How far can you go? And enjoy. And every day you can reset your button again and you say, the sun is shining. It's a great day to sell. It's a great day to speak. It's a great day to record a podcast. It's a great day to play a gig. It's a great day to whatever you want to do. But do something with your talents. It's raining. It's a great day. It's a great day to do a podcast, to have a sales call, to start your own business, whatever. But do something which is close to who you really are and live your own life and not from somebody else.
Yeah, that's true. And also, if I reflect on myself, it's that moment you go in too much pain or you go in that burnout or depression or whatever you want to call it. For me, it was you don't have to go that far. But for me, it was my body saying that compass we talked about, that inner feeling, that energy you talked about. It was my body saying, well, you decided to ignore me for years, even though I'm giving you the signals. Well, now I'm going to reset the whole computer and I'm going to force you to listen to me. And it's really your body saying, I had enough and words don't work anymore or thoughts. This time I'm going total, what is that? Alt F4 something.
Control Alt Delete.
Yeah, there you go.
But I had a woman on my podcast last week, Debbie Potts. She ran 15 Ironman. You know Ironman, eh? So it's running, walking. It's incredible. 15. She ate healthy. She sported everything. She had a burnout. It's the same principle. When the body says no, the body says no. At first, the body is whispering.
Yeah.
And then it starts to scream. And if you don't listen, then it's a totally... And that's the thing. We all live from our minds, but there is also a body. So there's a mind-body connection.
Definitely.
How much... So, and for a lot of people, especially around our age and in the world we live in, they live from here because we're trained. I studied economics. I'm trained to use this. Mm-hmm. But this is a small computer. This is just something that you are learning and storing, and the rest I don't know, so I don't want to store it. But it's that heart with the real intelligence. It's really that intuition is saying, it's giving you the intelligence, that kind of radar. No, this is not good for you. No, this is, and if you have that, it's giving you that subtle hint. You feel that it's like that. Yeah, that supercomputer which is working for you. Why would you know that feeling of flow when you are, I don't know, you're speaking, you're connecting with the audience and you feel every joke, they are laughing and you're forgetting every the space, the time. You're just there and in flow. You are not thinking anymore. It's something which is driving you. It's something which is coming from much deeper from within you. You're not thinking anymore. You don't need to think anymore. You know your lines.
Hmm.
You know the words by itself. You know where it's going. Even now when I'm speaking, I've prepared nothing. Of
It's true.
course,
It's
when you
true.
start for the first time, it's going to be and and I'm
Yep.
searching for words. But the more you do it, and the more you train that muscle, the more that passion comes through you, can live through you.
Yeah, it's trusting yourself, body mind connection, and then when you're in that flow, it's just that you know what to do, and you're like, I can do this. Trust, energy is what cool, and if the audience is feeling it. Definitely, if you do comedy or musician, yeah, I can relate. So actually, if you're listening and you don't want to go to the bigger pain, which I hope for all the listeners doesn't happen, but if it happens, it's just your body and mind saying like, "Well, we had enough. We had enough. Start listening. Put your ladder against a different mountain. Let's not hit that wall. Stop focusing on that tree, and let's go somewhere else and really go to that
And
energy."
and and a lot of people that I meet, they are tired. They are flirting with that wall of burnout.
Mhm.
That they know that you see them in meetings, and you see they don't have that fire anymore. They cannot take another battle, and you see that it's draining energy. So if you're feeling draining energy, when you have less energy at the end of your day of working than you started the day,
That's true. What do
then
you
you
What do you
start
think?
reflecting or changing something, the way you do things.
Yeah,
Because if you expect different results of doing the same thing over and over again, that's complete craziness. I mean, it doesn't work like that. So you have to change something. Maybe the way you're looking at things, the maybe you are doing things, maybe you're delegating, I don't know what, but maybe you're doing things that doesn't give you energy. It's and this is one of the biggest lessons that I learned last year, is that it's not about your strengths and being good at something. I'm great at mathematics,
mhm,
but I hate Excel. I really do. I'm not an Excel manager. I'm a connector. Okay. And I spot some kind of self limiting beliefs in people. I don't know where it comes from, but I know where they are, and I can read a room, but I've trained in that. I can really feel how people are feeling, and I can see it in their eyes. I can see it meters ahead, and I just flop it out. And the thing is, it's what gives you energy. So it's not about time management, it's about energy management. I was listening to John Kaplan. It's one of the biggest CROs in the world, of multi-billion unicorns. So he is as a sales leader one of the best, and he's talking also about that. It's not because you're good at it that it gives you energy. So you have to be it needs to give you energy. It needs to, yeah, fulfill you, and then you can, like us, go on and do a lot of stuff, you see. And that's for me the most important thing. Does the things that you are doing energy? And you can do it with tasks, yeah? I mean, if you're doing Excel and you get maybe search somebody else who gives it energy. Somebody is good in administration. When somebody, I don't know, is not good in another task, give it away. I mean, I'm not good in customer success. I mean, all these complaints and these tickets, but I have colleagues who are enjoy this stuff. They love it and they're great at it. But then they have to come with some kind of creative idea or connect with somebody. Yeah, of course, then they bring me in because I bring some kind of vibe, just like you. Then they say, Peter brings vibe. People bring some, there's always a combination of seriousness and humor. If you like it or not, it doesn't
you're a
matter.
professional
But
vibe.
yeah, and especially with those difficult conversations, those difficult relationships where the trust has frozen.
Mhm.
So the relationship is frozen. And yeah, so and you have to discover your superpowers, okay? And sales is not a superpower. It's a combination of a lot of things: connecting, being authentic, being true to yourself, and things like that. And being passionate. So, and it's really about that. What are your superpowers, and how do you do that? Look at your day. What gives you energy, and what is sucking or draining energy?
There you go. And this also links to what the second part that you said a couple of minutes back, linked to sales because you have such a sales experience and sales is about connecting. You also call yourself on LinkedIn a coach, a connector. There's no sales terminology in your function titles or whatever. But what is sales then? Maybe it's a bit of a turn of the energy, but I think it links perfectly also when you're talking about Mr. Kaplan, getting that energy connected with people. Peter brings the vibe. There's so much discussion about what is sales, and there's still the cold calling, the convincing people, getting the deal signed. Some people are still in the slick rigs, fast cars. But if I hear you, look at you, see your experience, I don't think that is sales. So for you, what is
But
it?
first of all, I mean, it's like blockchain or digital transformation. It's like you can, whatever the definition is for you, is that definition. For me, I struggled a long time with it because I didn't want to be affiliated with the term sales because it has a negative vibe. And a lot of sales, by the way, have that.
Yeah.
A lot of, but now I'm sales, but I given it another definition. So for me, it's really about that transfer of energy, and it's about that serving, helping other people, creating value. And that sounds a little business wise, but it's really about that. I'm not going to sell. People want to buy. People have money and they have in their pockets and they want to buy, but nobody wants to be sold to. I mean, if you enter some kind of store and they immediately try to push you stuff, nobody likes that. But why do sellers apply that principle? I mean, nobody wants to be sold to, but everybody wants to buy, but is looking for somebody who is going to go in a dialogue first, create that kind of trust relationship, and then going to evaluate together if not this product or service is fitting your criteria, your dream, whatever. And sometimes there are situations, and you are an NLP expert, where people are unconscious and what is it?
Yeah, you mean that the unconscious, skilled, conscious.
Yeah, that's it. So unskilled, so they are unconscious that they don't have skills, and sometimes you have to make them conscious that they don't have the skills. And that's also for me also sales. So I see sales as that how can I serve you, instead of the what's in it for me. And it's that intention that you can feel. And for me, yeah, it's about connecting, and it's about helping people. Like, I mean, the podcast masterclass, it's selling itself. I mean, people you're going to attract who wants to put something in the world, but they are looking for accountability partners to help them and to push them through that wall. And it's really about where are you now and where do you want to go, and to look together if you can use your product or service to get that person from point A to point B.
That's a good one. Yeah.
And for me, that's sales. Of course, you don't have to fish in the wrong sea. I mean, it doesn't mean that I'm serving everybody. I'm just saying then select, of course, a target group and make sure that you are fishing in the right pound. So that is for me sales. But of course, if I look at my wife, she is a photographer. She has also a store where you can buy women clothes. Selling for her is much different. For her, selling is really about, she has women coming to her store who are, how do you say that? And it's a little bit black and white, who are gray mouse. And she is inspiring them to go for the extra color or that extra, and she is seeing, that's your personality. Maybe you should try that. And then people do that and they feel like, this is really me, I feel better. And then their husband or their friends are saying, you look great, you look pretty. And it's about that. So for her, selling is really different there. So, I mean,
isn't that also like getting them from A to B? Like, even though
yes,
they're unconscious, don't want to go to B, they're your wife.
It's true.
It's
true. It's true. Yeah, it's true. That's true. But for a lot of people, especially in B2C, it's like they're still standing at the counter. I call it order pickers, and then they bring that to the cashier, and they go into. That's for me not selling. That's order picking. You see. And of course, you can have lots of theories like the buyers. Is it either in a buyer's market or a seller's market? Some products need to be sold because nobody knows them, and some products are buyers. Yeah, in buyer's market like iPhones or something. I mean, yeah, can you sell that? Yeah, see. So and And if I look at myself, I mean, starting a podcast, I'm also a producer of music. I have here a MIDI controller, or a classical, an acoustic guitar. I'm like, I'm looking for a mid-priced acoustic guitar. What should I buy? What did I do? I mean, I just contacted professional musician and asked, I'm looking for a mid-priced acoustic guitar. Advise me. And then if I'm meeting somebody who is going to guide me and advise me, yeah, of course, I want to even give him a premium and give him my money or her money, my money. You
Yeah,
see?
that's true. That's actually true. Also, with when you buy anything online, you could say, well, nobody's selling to you. Well, they're selling through ads and on their website. But if I look at myself, I like the thing that you say selling is just, can I help you go from A to B? And online, I see to myself also when I'm looking for something, it's most of the time the website that sells it, that has the videos and the content that explained the product to me and really gave me that, hey,
Trust.
this is
A
how it
trust.
works, and trust. And I'm like, whoa, you just explained me how this thing works. Well, I'm gonna buy with you because I like you now. You explained it to me. Well, it's never the
Yeah, and on the online thing, okay, also I buy stuff from people that I've been following for months, and they're giving me so much value, so much free lessons. I'm like, you're getting that feeling of guilt. I'm like, I, I, I mean, I owe you, so
yeah.
I will buy your book, your whatever, your course, whatever, just to express my gratitude towards you, and just to give you that money.
Mhm.
Look, I appreciate you're bringing me lots of value. I've learned a lot of you, so let me do something back.
Yeah, I noticed the same with Natalie. Natalie has, I mentioned it before in other podcasts, has their e-commerce website, shop.touchofblush.be. You can only buy if you're in the Netherlands or Belgium, but there's people that are following her and seeing her tutorials and learning about skincare, and they never bought anything. And then you get the same reaction what you said. Then they suddenly buy for a big amount, and they all sent her a direct message and said, like, I've been following you for ages. You helped me with so much. I just had to buy something. Because you have that, not just the likability, but
No, it's a trust. It's trust. It's really that like trusting, and a relationship takes time. Eh? I mean, have you ever seen somebody on a first date ask somebody, "Marry me"? I mean, yes, and how do you call it? Married at first sight, but normally you don't do that. So in a relationship, it takes time to build, and if you take the time, the trust is there, and then yeah, you can sell. So, and you know, Maya Angelou, she said, people will forget what you have done, people will forget what you have said, but they will never forget how you made them feel. I'm now in contact with a prospect, somebody I used to work with, who was also a prospect 8 years ago, and we were at a Gartner expo in London, and there was in the evening a dinner with what is it, Gordon Ramsay, and he was invited by another vendor, but we just had a click. So I just liked the person, and I was like, don't you want to come tonight? I mean, there's some guys from Proximus and Telenet and some execs and blah blah blah. Maybe there's also Belgians. Maybe you want to join. We have still one spot. And you're like, oh, that's cool. And I just needed him the last month. But by accident, there is a deal there, and I need some inside information. And I contact him, and he still remembers that night. He was like, I never forget that. You didn't sell me anything. You were just, you just invited me, and therefore call me, whatever you need. And it's that trust, and it's that long term. It's that long term. I mean, are you here just to pick my money, or are you really genuine, want to help me?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Are you just here? Am I some kind of resource having money? And are you going to use me to get that money out of my pocket? If it's now in a B2C or in B2B environment, it doesn't matter. It's H2H, human to human, or hard to handle. That's the party band I'm playing in. And
there you go, product placement.
hello. And so it's really that. It's that human connection, and people feel that even online. People feel that energy. You're full of crap. You're full of business. You're full of BS. But it doesn't mean that you have to sell to everybody. And connecting to the first statement that we made in the beginning of our conversation, I also live in a state of abundance. The market that I'm at, every partner in Belgium or whatever, there is market enough. There is enough pie for everybody.
It's big
Just
enough.
take whatever fits you, fits your values, fits your culture, fits your people, fits your technology, whatever. There is enough for everybody. But don't start poking your neighbor in the eye. It doesn't going to make you feel or make you better in front of the customer by bringing others down. No, just start from you and say it like it is. I mean, don't try to oversell. Just set the expectations right. You can expect this, and then you cannot expect this. I mean, it's great to think about unicorns, but I have never seen one except dolls in airports. But you see, and that's for me personally selling. It doesn't mean that I can relate with everybody. I have some people who cannot relate with me, and I'm perfectly okay with that.
Yeah.
Then relate with a colleague of mine. That's okay. I mean, 50% of the world is going to be against you, and 50% is going to be for you. I can live with that 50% who is for me, which is okay for me.
Yeah, if you focus on that, and that is what you just said in the beginning, that's your focus, and not the people that don't like you, because we tend to focus a lot on the people that don't like us. You also see that in the audience, like when someone's trolling in the audience, you tend to give them so much attention because you want to be liked, but actually you should say, well, there's 90 people here, there's one person that doesn't like me, so I'm going to go for the 89 others.
And this is another theme, external validation. Why are you doing things? Are you standing on a stage to really inspire people, bringing passion, connecting, or are you just because you have a hole in yourself and you want that audience because you hadn't have love enough when you were young?
Yeah.
And this is a very big one. Why are you doing this stuff? Huh? Is it external validation? So ego? Look at me, I'm big and I can play really well guitar. Or is it just about expressing yourself? I mean, I've put guitar solos online. Actually, I don't care. It was an exercise of my coach. Nobody knows that. It was an exercise of my coach. Just do something out of creativity without having a goal. I mean, what I'm going to do with these guitar solos? Views? No, it's just my creativity, my passion. And it was really an exercise of playing from the heart instead of I'm now going to play very funky and fast and things like that for that external validation. And it's again is that muscle that I'm training, you see. And I don't care if only one person is going to like or 1,000. No, but people again feel that energy and that intention again. That's what's behind it. It's that the thing is simple. Everybody has an intuition, so it's a receiver. And everybody has a sender, and that sender is that intention. You see, and when you're sending something, that the receiver will immediately pick up, and it's that non-verbal thing. You know, you're a communication expert, Marnick.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Wow.
So this means that what is it? 80% of all the communication is non-verbal, and it's that. And that's why I find it very strange that sellers are following technique courses, which is great, but they're focusing on that 20%. Why I think you should focus on the 80% of the nonverbal communication. What's your energy? How you're feeling? What's your real intention? And a lot of people are like, I don't know, like that Homer Simpson.
Yeah. Oh. Just learn me skills. Skip the energy, fluffy part. Yeah.
And I have lots of people tell me, teach me how to convince. There is no convincing. People are convincing themselves. Have you ever tried to convince your partner to change? It doesn't work, eh? No. It's the same. It's the same principle. Yeah, but B2B, no, it's the same.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's all the same. Every time people are like, sales training, communication training, marketing training, I'm like, it's all the same. I totally agree with that. It's all the same. And you can't say that because people are making money off it, but actually it's because then they say, you do storytelling communication. Well, we're looking more for sales training. It is sales. And then you give someone the sales team a training and people are like, yeah, but we really don't want a sales training, we want storytelling. But it's the same. It's just...
That's why for my sellers, I don't give them sales training. I give them connecting communication training, for instance. I learn them how they feel. What?
vibing trading, vibing with Peter, how to do it.
Yeah, but it's true. So and through role playing, you see that intention, and then they say now change the intention, and so then they focus, they change the intention, and they're like, Peter, it's working. Yeah, of course it's working. And like, huh? And for me, it's amazing to see these people grow, and I'm like, that's my richness. If you can touch people's hearts and they are changed, it's like putting an how do you call that, a stone in the water, and the way the water flows is changing because of that stone you have put in the water, and that the way it flows will never be the same again because you cannot step in the river twice.
There you go. Is someone writing this down, people? Is someone writing this down? The Dalai Lama is now like, what have we been doing? That's a good one. That's a good one. I'm making fun of it, but I really like it. I really like it.
Yeah, and I know. I mean, I combine all these things together. Of course, I have sales techniques, and of course, I have qualification canvas things. Of course, and I combine the two. And if you combine the two, it's becoming a killer combo.
Mhm.
But if you only have the techniques,
Yes.
I mean, and of course, I'm a big qualification guy. Yeah, I mean, qualifying all the time. I'm very hard. I am not hard on my people, but I challenge them a lot, and they like it. And it does a little bit of technique, but it's underlying. It's that underlying part that I'm mostly focusing on. So it's and therefore, so if you combine those two, then it's killer. But I've seen so many sales managers, sales directors, or VP sales only focusing on the techniques, and then they realize, why are people leaving my company?
Mhm.
Once they see, I cannot make my number anymore because I have the wrong territory, I have shitty products, whatever reason they give, they are leaving you because they're not growing.
Cool.
And that's the hard one. People are leaving you, not the company. So that's why I want to be the manager I always had. Or leader. I prefer the term leader, manager. I hate that word. I hate. You know what I mean,
Mhm. That's good.
And
I mean,
it also has to do with ego. It's about, once you realize that an ego is some kind of collection of beliefs, what you think you are, but you discover that this is not really who you are. You are more than that. You cannot just give a definition of who you are, but if you realize that you were a slave of your ego, buying very fancy stuff to impress other people. But the real trick in life is to express yourself and not having that expensive car. And yes, I have an expensive car, but it doesn't define me. It's good to own things, but make sure that things don't own you. So once you have found out that that ego is still there and it's okay, and once in a while you have to get it out and let it play, but that ego is working for you, and you're going to say, I'm somebody else and my ego now can work, but the ego is my servant instead of I'm a slave of my ego. And that's a big thing. And again, is that external validation. Who are you, Marnick, without Natalie, without your book, without your big titles, without your past of PepsiCo? Strip it all down. That's who you really are. And if you can live with that, then all the rest is the cherry on the pie. But it doesn't define you, because everything can fall away. Your business can fall away. Your book can fall down. Everything can be taken away from you, but you still be happy. And then you will see that's the big secret.
that's true. I've tried to relate it like people are listening, relating it to themselves. It's true. It's where when, for example, Natalie and I were working at the multinationals, making a lot of money, and at a certain point we say, well, let's start our own business that we've been running now for 5 years. I remember the first week, because I had to give all my cars back and all that thing, and we only had a Vespa, and it was midwinter in December, super cold, snow, rainy. We just bought a house with a serious loan because it was based on our salaries, and then we just quit the job, which is already really hard, because a lot of people that quit their job for starting a business know that it's like you're leaving that golden cage, you're leaving that safe zone. And then I was driving with my Vespa, freezing, to the store, standing there. I never looked at any prices in the store. And now I had to look at the price because we just had to do some investments, because starting the company cost money. And I came in with my Vespa, and I stood there in the store, and I was thinking like, what the hell happened? I'm freezing. I have only my Vespa. I'm looking at the prices because we don't have any money anymore. But like you said, and now we've been doing this for 5 years, and of course the company improved. But I was like, it's okay because this is what I want. But that was also for me a really, because like you say, you have to put your ego aside and say, this doesn't define me. The cars, the money, that doesn't define me. This is what I want to do. Now I'm poor and cold, but it's okay.
But the money will come, eh? Because the money will come.
If you
focus on the mission and your purpose and helping people.
Yeah.
That's the Zig Ziglar statement. If you just focus on helping other people, and you will become rich. And it is like that. It's not about hard working, because if the secret was hard working, millionaires will be flooded all over the world. It's not about hard working. It's about energy management and doing what really gives you that passion. And yeah,
that's a good one, man. It's also a good one. The circle is round, I think. Also to wrap it up, like it all connects to each other. There's so many golden nuggets in there, and you started off by saying, like, being in that balance, that inner guidance, intuition, compass, we call it so many names, focusing on that energy, putting the ladder against the right mountain, even if you're going through the pain, if you're unlucky to have crashed against that wall, which we don't want, it use it, because it's your body saying like, listen to me, because I want you to change. And if you do, I love the fact that you said, like, I'm living in a world of abundance, and because I feel so aligned, I which I admire that you don't see the competition, like, I want to help you, and I want to help you build and grow, because if you grow, I grow, I can learn from you, and I cut through those first impressions. And then in sales, everything comes together, because like you said, sales is helping people bring value, and you can only do that if you have everything that I just repeated of what you said. And then it all comes together. You put your ego aside, and you're like, I might be cold and poor, but I'm happy. And then the money will come, like you said.
Yeah, and that's the thing, eh? The other thing where I started, just before we had our first podcast recording, the YouTube series was selling without your soul, because I did it. I did sell my soul for money.
Mm-hmm.
You can spend the money, and then the money is gone, but the feeling remains, and you have to live with yourself.
You're filling the hole, like you said, the hole that people have.
Yeah,
that's what
yes. And once you realize if you can sell without selling your soul, you can really do it. And then that it becomes that shift from pushing to pulling people towards you. I mean, and there is no struggle anymore. And this is again is the very important thing, is about why you're doing it. Are you doing for external validation, your ego? And otherwise you're going to be attracting money by selling your soul. And I believe in karma. So this means also, because you have gained money in a manipulative way, you also will lose that money in a manipulative way. Yeah. It's the same with guns, they say. If you use guns, you will be shot by guns. It's the same thing. Yeah, so, so I choose that other thing. And for me personally, it works. And I see a lot of people who it is resonating with, because they need to sell because they're an entrepreneur, but they don't know how. And they think it's the sleazy way. And it's that a lot of people think I create a funnel. So the email marketing funnel I'm talking about, not the sales pipeline funnel. I'm creating a funnel with great words and things like that. But their intention is off, and they sell nothing. And then you have people just doing like me. My Instagram is like, I don't have a fancy Instagram thing. I don't have all these nice pictures. I just put on whatever I like, even videos. Mm-hmm. People react on that. And it's again what you said also before, so the pre-talk, it's about being consistent. It's you're running a marathon. You're not running 100 meters, but in order to run a marathon, you have to be very dosed with your energy. I mean, if you blow all your energy in the first kilometers, you're not going to make the marathon. So, hey, it's that the journey is the destination. Just keep on having that pace, be consistent, don't overdo it, and just keep on doing and feeling that positive vibes. And if you feel that, if you follow that path, I mean, whatever you want is going to come into your life.
There you go. You're gonna attract it, like you said. Thank you so much, Peter. I have to wrap this up, but before we go, I want to just say where are you going to attract people, or what's going to be the journey for them? What I just want to say is, where can they find you? How can they?
psgrow.com.
psgrow.com.
Yeah,
And
and on the podcast is PS I don't know, double punt grow. So PS Grow, you could find me. The same on YouTube, but you can find everything on the site. All the links are there, and
PS
please
Grow.
subscribe.
There you go, psgrow.com. Subscribe. Like I said, you might be saying like, oh, because it's on your episode, but so many great episodes. He started, like with everybody, with that first one in his podcast, which was me, which I'm very proud
and
of.
You can buy Marnick's book on my site, and I also making some money thanks to Bol and Amazon.
There you go. How can I argue with that? This is just helping people from A to B to B. B is the destination where the book is. There you go. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, not just for the episode, but also for the support for the last, what was it, more than 2 years.
Yeah.
Being there, connecting me with so many people, promoting the book. I just want to do a special thank you for that, because everything you just said is not just your theory, but you live it. And people that don't know you might look you up on psgrow.com and follow Peter. They will get to know that everything Peter said in this hour, he does every single day. He practices what he preached, and that's so valuable to have people that actually live what they're saying, what they're thinking, what they're feeling. So
thank you. You made me feel very humble, but I want to thank you because you inspired me 8 years ago, and you are you, and me and me, and yeah. So thank you, Marnick. That's all I can say, because I think you're doing an amazing job. And on your grave there will be, he learned his he learned his how they call that, his population, his tribe, to stand up and speak out.
There you go. And on that beautiful note, I'm going to say, everybody's listening all around the world. Like I said, also with the podcast, it's amazing how many people you can reach. There you go. Nothing but love. If you're watching on YouTube, he's doing the heart sign. Keep listening. Subscribe, psgrow.com. Thank you so much for listening. We're definitely going to have you back on the podcast. I know that for sure. But for now, so many golden nuggets in there. Check it out on Spotify. If you're watching or you're listening right now, you want to view it, go to youtube.com, but all the links are below. You know the drill. I was Marnick Vandebroek. My guest was Peter. Have a great evening in this case for you, and I see you for a future episode. Ladies and gentlemen, this was the Stand Up Talk.
Are you listening? Damn.